What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to talk about the who, what, why, where, and how of dry rot vintage t-shirts.
Welcome to Vintage and Soft with two high fits. Welcome to Vintage and Soft with two high fits.
Okay, I've been meaning to do this video for a long time. Initially, I really wanted to test methods of saving dry rot t-shirts, okay? But first of all, what is dry rot? When we think of the word dry rot, you think of wood, okay? Dry rot in wood is when the wood is deteriorated, broken down by molds and fungus, and it doesn't have to be wet. That's why it's called dry rot. Typically, rot in something happens with moisture, like your compost. It breaks down with moisture, but that's not the case with dry rot. It's dry. So what is dry rot in vintage t-shirts, okay? It is when you get a t-shirt and it disintegrates. It falls apart in your hands. You put it on and it tears, okay? It doesn't stretch. You know, a t-shirt should have stretch in it. A dry rot t-shirt does not stretch. It will just rip. For example, I have one here. That's what sparked my idea to do this video, okay? That is dry rot. That is dry rot. I'm gonna show you more about this t-shirt after. I'm gonna show you how to test if something is dry rot, okay? But that is it. So why does this occur in t-shirts? First of all, dry rot happens in vintage t-shirts, typically black t-shirts. Actually, only black t-shirts, okay? It only happens in black t-shirts. I've never seen dry rot in any other color t-shirt but black. It happens typically in 90s or early 2000s t-shirts. Here's something interesting though. We don't know how far into the 2000s it will go because it takes years to develop in a t-shirt. So it could happen in 2010 t-shirts, but it hasn't dry rotted yet. So in 2030, the 2010 t-shirts could be dry rotted. So why does this happen, okay? I'm gonna read you something right off the defunct website. These guys did mad research. They sent samples into labs. They went all out. Got to give credit to Defunct for doing this, not taking credit for this information. I'm going to read something right off their website. Okay, so after the kind folks at Cotton Ink did some science stuff on the fabrics, this is what they found. The culprit behind the fabric deteriorating disease is sulfur. Turns out that sulfur-based dyes are often used when the price of fiber-reactive dyes are too expensive. Black sulfur dyes are the hardest to oxidize, a process done after the dyeing. If not washed, over time, the sulfur becomes insoluble and the fabric becomes acidic. Over the course of years, the acid slowly deteriorates the cotton to the point of dry rot, when it will rip. While fabric that has already reached that point cannot be saved, there is some good news. I'm going to put a link to this article down below, and they tell you how to actually test if your t-shirt may get dry rot in the future by the acid level in it. So the moral of the story is dry rot happens from dyes they used in that time period when fiber reactive dyes became too expensive. It's sulfur in the dyes, it makes it acidic, and it deteriorates the fabric, breaks it down until it's dry rot, and it just rips like that. No stretch, just rip, okay? Like I said, it happens in the 90s t-shirts, typically not in 80s t-shirts. And 80s t-shirts were polyester cotton blends mostly, where 90s t-shirts are 100% cotton. It happens to 100% cotton. And it's only happening in black t-shirts, okay? Now, like I said, we don't know how long it will go. I'm gonna do another video, and I have some more dry rot t-shirts to test, and I'm gonna test different methods of saving dry rot t-shirts. I'm a little skeptic, like I said, if any of these will actually work, but I'm gonna try it out and I'm gonna make a video about it. I'm gonna see if I can save some dry rot t-shirts. People claim that there's methods to save them, okay? Because there's a lot of sick dry rot shirts out there. Tons of wrap tees, black 90s wrap tees were dry rot. So many sick stuff, and a lot of it is dead stock. That brings me to my next point. So it only happens in black t-shirts, and it happens to dead stock. Why? Because dead stock sat there. Not that it got wet, it was dry, but over time, That sulfur turned acidic and rotted out the cotton. Now, when somebody wears a t-shirt and washes it all the time, it washes that acidity away. Becomes non-acidic, becomes base, and your t-shirt will last. So, I would say if you have black dead stock stuff, black dead stock t-shirts, you want to wash them before they get dry rot. You want to wash that acid out of the shirt, you know? This is the shirt that I found today that has dry rot. Mo Knows Hoops. This is like a parody tee, super rad tee on a changes tag, which this is actually 80s. Late 80s probably. Okay, it does happen to some 80s, late 80s, but typically we see it more so in 90s. This was dead stock though, that's why. This was never washed before, okay? And now it's dry rot. Oftentimes you'll see it start on the hanger section. So like the hanger was eating through the shoulders. Next thing, if you find t-shirts and you want to test them without literally ripping a hole through the shirt, this is what you do. You take the sleeve or the bottom hem and you're going to flip it inside out. And then you're going to separate the two layers and you just want to like pull it apart. Just take those two layers and literally just pull it apart. And if it does that, it's done. It's dry rot. Don't buy it. Or buy it and try to fix it, but I mean, I don't know if that's actually going to work yet. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. That's what it is. Dry rot, not to be confused with wet rot, not to be confused with dry rot in wood. Apparently this term dry rot was a coined term by the vintage community back in the day when these things first started popping up. They're popping up more and more now because as more dead stock becomes uncovered, it's older from that time period and the chances of it being dry rot are higher. So that is it for my dry rot video. Sad day for dry rot t-shirts everywhere. Thank you for tuning in. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, hope you learned something, and stay tuned for my how to cure dry rot video coming up.